Welcome back to the Conversion Stack. We have an awesome guest today, Vlad Negron, our Director of Marketing. And we're going to talk something really fun and really unique, is the value of project management and soft skills in marketing. We're going to talk about AI, we're going to talk about stakeholder management, we're going to talk about timelines, scopes, all these awesome things that we tend to believe actually help speed up creativity and speed and agility. So let's dive in, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Let's go. So Vlad, we're talking project management in this series. Really fun stuff so far. Let's get into, we talked about why it's so important. We talked about the creativity that it helps drive. Let's get into the core skills of project management. Like, what do companies need to know or hire into or focus on to make sure that their project management is buzzing?
Yeah. So when it comes to skills for project management, there's just so many, right? And not only that, they tend to evolve over time, or at least I've witnessed them evolve over time. But for what we're talking about today, I pulled up what I feel like are 4 core skills of project management. So highlighting them because I do think that they're vital. Scope management, number 1. So for me, managing the scope, making sure that what has been declared as part of what's in scope, like what is actually the project, and ensuring that you're staying within those constraints. So that would be scope management for me. Time management. So this is at the beginning, you determine how much time you have for the project. And if you have a good project manager, they may be even doing this breaking it down to the individual tasks. So understanding how much time they have allotted will make sure that the project gets delivered on time. Resource management. This one's huge. Resources can be various. You can be talking about resources like monetary resources. Maybe you have to be managing vendors for different things to make sure that you deliver whatever you're trying to deliver. You could be managing human resources. You can be managing people on your team. What I've witnessed where it gets really tricky is like when people on your team are not solely dedicated to your team. So you got to be like right on cue, because maybe you have person A for weeks 1 through 3 only on Tuesdays and Fridays, and you have person B maybe for the entire project but only on Mondays, and you have to be able to balance all that, or else you're not going to get the project delivered on time. Yeah. And then last one, stakeholder management. So this would be more on, well, for marketing, for the way we do it, would be more on the partner or client that you're working on with, I should say, ensuring that they're aware of everything that's going on, that they're kept up to speed, and when inevitably some certain things start changing, that they're kept up to date and informed so that they can make either adjustments if we need to make adjustments, or they're at least kept up to speed so that there's no surprises. Yeah, man, so much to unpack here. I think I like to think about our company early on. I'm someone that can see the finish and can see the start, but like not great at tying the middle, right? So I'd speak to our potential partners. I'd piece together really robust scopes of work, and just like give it to the team and expect them to just execute it, because it just makes sense to me, right? And things like scope management, like really clearly understanding the scope, or it might be natural to me, but not to the team working on it. And even making sure that the stakeholder like really understands the scope and the timelines and processes and all of those things, because there are so many people and aspects to what we do, which is full stack marketing. There's something as simple as the stakeholder not being managed properly. You might think the project is going super well, but if their expectations are not managed and met, it could be a mess. 100%. Right? So I think, and there's so much nuance to each of those. That's really interesting. And I want to kind of go back to a discussion that I had with Mark. And this might be a little bit of a plug for OM, but we provide technical expertise and full stack execution, right?
And we talk a lot about what's going on in the world, these companies that want to move fast, want to be creative, but they don't have full stack execution, so they're using freelancers, which, again, some freelancers are amazing, and we don't have an issue with freelancers. But you touched on kind of resources coming in and out and the complexities of that. And we have found that some companies that maybe don't have full stack execution, but want to be lean and use a bunch of freelancers instead of a full stack agency, the marketing leader, unfortunately, has to become a project manager. And if they're not really good at that, or if that's not where they want to be focusing their efforts, it can be a challenge. And it just reminded me of that when you started talking about kind of those resources coming in and resource management. Even for me, where all our entire team is in-house and internal, is a difficult challenge. I can't imagine when it's not that way.
Yeah, using outside resources, it doesn't make it any easier. Let's just put it that way, right? But even managing inside resources, internal resources can be difficult. One thing you touched on that I don't know if you did it on purpose or not. You probably did. You mentioned lean, agile. Some of these terms can be used in project management. There are certain disciplines and strategies and thoughts of how to manage. So another one that would be kind of counter to this, like waterfall, where you have everything clearly defined up front to the T, and you're doing things in order. You can't move on to the next one until the first one is completed, and it's sequential. That tends to work really well in certain areas. We at OM tend to more lean towards the lean and agile side, where even with you doing your due diligence, doing the discovery calls with the partners, trying to understand what they're seeking, they don't know what they don't know, especially early on.
Yeah.
So you try to create a good scope of work, but things change. Within the current time frame of that initial contract, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, a lot of things can change within that. And then that's not even speaking what happens after that, right? You have to be able to continue to adjust, continue to drive value. So we were talking about it in an earlier segment, ensuring that the stakeholders, especially on the partner side, are aligned with, are we actually still doing what we said we were going to do? And did we deliver on those things? Do I understand what those things are? There's a lot of nuance in that.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot to unpack there, especially when they're not the experts in what we do. Like, do they even understand that we've delivered or not delivered? Cool. Love that. Lot to unpack there, but let me wrap up this segment by clearly communicating, and tell me if I'm wrong here, the 4 core skills of project management.
Yep.
Scope management, time management, resource management, and stakeholder management.
Love it.
Boom.